But if all of a sudden you have all these new people and you have no idea what their jobs are, and then you got to go in and figure out what their jobs are, how, are they good at their job, or what, and all that kind of stuff, or who could take this person's job. That's probably a pretty taxing thing for initially, especially like once you acquire a company, trying to get a baseline of how the people kind of interact with each other.
Yeah, you spend a ton of time in meetings. You spend a ton of time on the phone,
Yeah,
texting people, calling people, traveling to go see them.
yeah,
And it's just building a relationship with somebody you don't know, but now you have a common goal.
yeah,
And it's and you know what's funny about it? You know me pretty personally, so you kind of know this about me. I'm not a real outgoing person. Once I know you, I can
yeah,
sit and talk to you forever.
yeah,
It's just one of those things. I'm just kind of withheld.
yeah,
Laura, my wife, kind of takes that side of me, and she's very social. But it's one of those things where now I got to get on a plane, fly across the country, and meet people I don't know. I never and hey, we got to work together,
yeah,
and we gotta hit these goals. We gotta hit these numbers, and now I'm asking them. They've been in this business for 15 years. Let me think about this. Think about this if it was me and you. Okay, so you're running this escape room business.
hmm,
I just acquired you.
yeah,
I'm from California coming over to Ohio, and now I'm telling you what you got to do.
right,
And yeah, you gotta treat that very sensitively. But really, it's funny because human nature is it all comes back to relationships.
hmm,
If you can build a relationship, if people know you have their best interest in mind and you want to grow this thing together, and you're not trying to force them to do things, or you make decisions sometimes they wouldn't have as the business owner.
yeah,
But that's part of it. And at the end of the day, they got to understand, you're doing what's right for the business, even though um, you may not have a great relationship out of the gate, but it grows over time, and
well,
it's
that, and like
interesting.
you've just given them probably several $1,000,000 too, so they're
It
kind of
depends.
like,
Yeah,
hey, well,
it
I'll
depends on
do
the
what you're
role.
asking me to do.
And it depends on the role.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, the business owner is going to feel that way,
yeah,
but you got to remember too, though, it goes back to what we just said. If you force them out too early, or they get upset with you, they're like, I already got my money. I'm moving on.
yeah,
You know, you don't want that to happen because you don't know the loyalty of their team members.
right,
Now you just crushed a business because of maybe just a feeling that you had, or something that you said incorrectly. So
yeah,
it's just really weird, like
yeah,
walking the line straight, but you have to be direct. But
yeah,
yeah, so it's a weird place. The good thing and the advantage I think I have in this situation was we were acquired once,
yeah,
so I was on the other side of it.
yeah,
So when I can say that to people, I can say, what, I understand what you're feeling. I was there. Like, we're doing a major integration with the team out in California right now. Literally, we're shutting down their system that manages their whole business,
yeah,
and putting them on our system. Well, it's all brand new. So we've been training them for the first 5 months since January on all of this integration plan. And it's like June 1st, literally June 1st, here we come. And we're literally cutting them off and saying, now you're working in this system. Well, they've only worked in this system for the last 12 years since they
mm,
started this business.
yeah,
You think that went over real well? It did not.
yeah,
But it was working through it. It was like, okay, listen, I've been there. We had to switch systems as well. And I know the failures that we had in the first time when we switched, and I know what we need to do differently to make it more of a success. So you take your time, you make sure you have checklists, you make sure you're knocking these things out, because the biggest problem in our industry is it's very commoditized product. So you can go to Walmart and buy a strap, you can go to Home Depot and buy a strap. So why would you get on truckingdepot.com and buy one,
hmm,
right? Convenience purchases. Now, we have advantages. We make them here, and there's a lot of things, but at the same time, you can buy them anywhere.
hmm,
What makes you want to buy from us? A lot of times it's quality and service. So if there's an issue, if there's, the quality of the product's better, there's those things. When you're switching systems, service can be faltered pretty easily. So because you can't find the tracking you need to quick enough, you can't get the customer the invoices fast enough, you can't enter the orders and ship it fast enough. There's all these things you got to think about. and make sure the company's trained on. But like I said, the team out there is extremely capable people that work hard. So I'm confident we'll be good.
Yeah. So you say you're doing some travel, and then you go to these different locations and things. How often do you find yourself traveling now?
So I go at least once a quarter to board meetings, and that's typically Chicago or New York City. And then I'll travel to different locations, usually once every couple months,
Mhm.
if need be, because of something going sideways or whatever. I'll travel more than that, but I try to let people do their job. I try to be hands off. I don't want to micromanage.
Mhm.
Like I said, I think we have very capable people. I try to make sure that we have people that are, again, take ownership in what they do, and by letting them do their job, trusting them, you're enabling them to really do a good job for the business. And I don't like to micromanage that way.
Yeah.
Um, and I think one of the things we learned during the pandemic, you can do a lot of things over
Remote.
Teams,
Yeah.
or so. A
Yeah.
lot of that now, we just you save the company a lot of money doing that,
Yeah.
where you can just have a Teams call, and you're on for 30 minutes, and it doesn't disrupt a couple days of traveling or flying back and forth and all that.
Right. Now, do you have anything like you like to do when you go to different cities at all? Like, do you
Oh yeah,
like to eat different places, or like
yeah,
what's your?
that's one of my favorite things is finding great restaurants. And
Yeah.
the nice thing about it too is you're going to these places where all the people you're dealing with are locals, so
Yeah.
they have all the best spots.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll find some awesome restaurants. I've been lucky enough to find some great restaurants. But most of the time, these trips are,
They're max.
um,
Like,
you fly in, you work a day, you fly in at night, you have dinner that night. The next morning is
mhm.
your meetings, and then you fly back that next night. So a
Yeah.
lot of times you're not there for a really long time. Um, we were just out in California, and we were there for 3 days of travel, but we were only there for a day and a half on site. So
Yeah.
California, flight out, flight back. That's all the rest of the time, basically.
Right. Yeah. No, I do myself. I try to find, um, especially since my son's getting a little older now, is like whenever we go to a different city. Well, we've been trying to do the whole like go to all the NBA stadiums. That's like one of our little things we're trying to do before he gets graduated from college, is try to visit every NBA stadium. So whenever we go to a different city, we always like I said, look up for some really good place to eat, and then I'll try to find an escape room to go to, because it's always good to see like what everybody else is doing, and I just enjoy escape rooms. And then we'll try to find a basketball court, like a city court that's outdoor or something like that. Go play some hoops,
Yeah, that's awesome.
get some with some
Those are
locals.
memories you guys will never forget,
Yeah.
and it's just awesome. The boys, my twins, were really upset because Carlsbad, California, is where this company is at.
Oh yeah.
If anybody out there knows anything about Carlsbad, it's like the mecca of golf.
Yeah.
TaylorMade's headquarters, Callaway's headquarters, Titleist, they're all in Carlsbad.
Yeah.
Torrey Pines is like 20 minutes away, and it was funny. I actually sat beside a guy, KBR Golf Shafts. I sat beside him on the plane, and he's a vice president, so we were talking back and forth about business, and he was going out to visit the main guys, at TaylorMade, and it's just really cool. When you get to travel, you get to see all of these places. One thing our company does is, obviously the expense is on Laura and I, but she gets to travel with me sometimes. So we've been able to go. We've got a location down in South Florida, so we've been able to go to Miami, and
Yeah.
things like that together. With these business trips, my kids have gone with me to some of the trade shows that we go to. So those things, those are things you have to travel for business. But when you get to include your family, sometimes it's really special because you, you kind of focus on business all day, but then at night you can go do whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you go to Dallas is a big show. Louisville, Kentucky's a big show.
Yeah.
So my twins went with me a few weeks, I guess not a few weeks ago. It was in March, um, down to Louisville. Then we hit some golf places and golfed a little bit, and then came home. So it
Yeah.
was awesome.
Have you
Good
do
time.
you go to Dallas very often or not?
Um,
Is that one of your stops, or
yeah, just
there's
one of the trade shows there.
there's a big restaurant there I really want to go to. It's like this place you go in and it's the whole wall is all a huge TV. It's like a dome shaped wall, and like
Yeah,
you
I've heard
go in,
about
you
this.
sit down, and it's like they record it or they get the video from like where you're sitting at basically. So it's like you're live or like courtside for basketball
I
games.
saw that featured for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, dude, it looks so
That would be
cool. I
awesome.
want to go to it so bad. I'm like, I almost want to just fly to
Do you know
Dallas
what it's
just to.
called?
I have it saved on my
Yeah,
Instagram, but I
I
don't
can't
know.
remember.
I don't remember off the top of my head because I told Darren about it. Darren
Yeah,
Greenwood, he travels a lot for work still, and he goes to Dallas. I'm like, dude, you got to go to this spot and let me know
yeah,
how it
we're always
is.
sharing places to eat in different
Yeah,
cities.
he's the best, dude.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he gave me some good ones when I went to Miami
Yep,
and a couple of places like that, some like Italian restaurants and stuff like that. So he's got the best food
he
recommendations for
does.
sure.
He
My
does.
brother, he travels some, like with his family, and he like they're like foodies and a little bit. But dude, everything that he recommends, I think is total garbage. Like, he'll like you got to go to this place. Like you got to go to this place. Like he was so hyped up on Cat's Deli in New York City, and so I was like, I'm gonna go to Cat's Deli. I'm expecting like I don't know what I was expecting. Just based on his
Right.
recommendation, I was like, oh, I got to go
It's
here.
gonna be amazing.
It's a freaking hole in the wall, which is fine. It's like there's 100 people in line. You sit down and you're like crammed up against them. And I know it's the vibe. Like I totally get the vibe.
Right.
But the food was good. But I'm like, I'm not a pastrami guy to begin with. Like, like it's not like I love pastrami and this is like the mecca of pastrami. So I'm like, I eat it. I'm like, yeah, it was all right. He's like, and then he calls me, he's like, how good was that, dude? I'm like, I was all right, I guess. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, like this stuff like that. So whenever he gives me recommendations, I'm like, gotta take it with a grain of salt because I'm like, I'll like Google it or like look it up
Yeah.
online.